and in the middle of it was a camera. Julie had a hidden camera in the house. Hey YouTube, it's your girl AIRBNB, and today I am back with another video, another story time for you guys. My life is a whole movie. Like, somebody needs to write a book about me and turn this into a film, because my life is a whole movie. I am telling you. Okay, so today, this time I'm back with some braids. Y'all was coming at my lace in the last video. It's all good or whatever. Today I got some braids and my girl Modified hooked me up. She is a braider located in the Cincinnati area, Cincinnati, Ohio to be specific. She specializes in literally braids and she does a great job. She got these done so fast, you guys, and it's long. It's all the way to my a little past my butt. If you guys are ready for this story time, you guys, I cannot stress this enough. When you are booking a Airbnb or a hotel, please be careful when you enter. Make sure you like do your little investigation before you get settled in. Like, look around everywhere, because this situation right here, I would have never thought in a million years that this would happen to me, literally. Oh, before I get into this story time, I need to shout out this black owned business, Senegalese owned. My t-shirt says Africa will be great again, inshallah. The business is called Emperor. I will just tag the Instagram on the screen. I also have their description down below. They have great t-shirts. All their t-shirts send a great message. Yeah, so check them out. Now let's get into it. Now. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. I'm gonna need for you guys to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that. Because if you don't do it, your Airbnb host is gonna stalk you. Yep. So yeah, go ahead, subscribe. I'm waiting. You got it? Alright, good. So this story is crazy. This story is crazy. I'm gonna keep saying this before I get started because I'm just thinking about it. It's just like, damn, that really happened to me. As you all may know, I don't think you all know, majority of you guys don't know that I graduated college August of 2019. My bachelor's in international affairs and I minored in political science. But before that, y'all already know where the go-to is for spring break. If you know where the go-to is for spring break, raise your hand. Exactly, Miami. Miami. Straight. Now, this was my first time in Miami and I was just ready to just be lit, turned, all that, and I did just that. But there were a few bumps on the road. March 15th, 2018, me and my friends decided we wanted to go to Miami. Now, if you guys keep seeing me look down, it's because I want to make sure this goes in chronological order, because it's just a lot that happens. Alright, so boom, we skipped to us arriving to the Airbnb. This Airbnb was booked on my account, which now a year later, or 2 years later, my account is closed because I let some scammers book on my account. So now I can't ever book with Airbnb and I'm salty because I did not know that was going on my account. So my advice to you guys is don't let other people book on your account, period. Because then as soon as Airbnb sees fraudulent activity, they're gonna close your account and you can never open one again. So back on topic. So we arrived to the Airbnb. So mind you, when we booked the Airbnb, I saw in the description that there is a camera. It mentioned a camera. And I'm like, are they allowed to have cameras inside? So I went and looked at Airbnb's policies and I'm like, okay, I need to do my research before I book this Airbnb. So under Airbnb's guidelines, it says that the host is allowed to have cameras in their household as long as it is mentioned in the description, which it was. So I'm like, okay, I can't do nothing about that. And we were booking, like, I would say 8 days prior, 7-8 days prior to the actual day that we were arriving. It was last minute. It was so hard for us to find Airbnb, and I refused to get an Airbnb that's not in the beach, like not in Miami Beach. I didn't want to be nowhere else other than Miami Beach, so that everything was like walking distance or short driving distance, because them Ubers were really cheap, especially if you were in Miami Beach. Y'all, I'm so like conscious of like trying not to be too close, because my best friend said I'd be too close to the camera, so I'm like scooting back because of that. We booked the Airbnb last minute. We luckily found the Airbnb that was like 1 bedroom. It was just 3 of us, and it was a king size bed. We don't mind sleeping together, and it was also like an extra mattress. So we got to Airbnb. The Airbnb was about $1,100, around $1,100 for 4 days. And mind you, it was supposed to be me, my ex-best friend, and another girl. It was supposed to be 4 of us actually. Well, it went from being 3 to 4 to 3. So basically the girl flocked at the last minute, and I kept confirming with her, like, are you coming? So because I'm about to book this with my money, and then you can pay me back or whatever, because she said she didn't have it at the moment. So I ended up paying an extra $300 or something around that. And when she canceled, I was upset, because I'm like, so we booked this and you aren't coming anymore, like whatever. Mind you, I already had to pay double pretty much until my other friend decided that she wanted to come, but she wasn't staying the full time. She was only going to stay for 2 days, I think. So we only prorated it for those 2 days, but I still ended up paying more. Oh, my nephew is crying. Okay, so we get to the Airbnb. All right, you guys, this story time is kind of long. Like, I wrote notes. All these notes just to tell you guys this story, because I hope this story ends up being a lesson learned. I mean, it's a lesson learned for me, and I hope it helps someone else in the long run. So we get to the Airbnb, we meet the host or whatever, and first of all, Airbnb has like a policy where like they tell you to be cautious of speaking with the hosts like on a separate app, but I didn't know this. Well, I knew it, but it was like, okay, maybe she just didn't want she wanted to be able to delete like her pin, the pin to her door and all this stuff. But okay, so we get there, and she introduces herself, and she introduces us to her husband or boyfriend, baby daddy, whatever he was to her. And the first thing she says is, if my neighbors ask, just make sure you tell them that we're friends.
Okay.
I guess. That was kind of weird. We was like, why we gotta tell them that we friends? Like, what's wrong? What's going on? But we didn't think nothing of it. And even if we thought something of it, it was too late. Like, we're not about to be homeless in Miami. Yeah, and then so she gives us a tour of the actual Airbnb, and it's like a little apartment complex looking thing. Yes, an apartment complex pretty much. So she gives us a tour, shows us how to get into the house and how to lock it and this, that, and the third. And then she's giving us a tour of the inside of the house. Like, first I noticed blue tapes. You know the little tapes, like the paper? It's literally tape that you can rip. Like the tapes that they use like when they're painting and trying to keep paint from transferring and stuff like that. She had those tapes taped on her closet doors. And when I asked her, because I was pointing at it, about to say something, and she was like, oh, the last guests I had were stealing my clothes, so I just want to make sure like my clothes aren't getting stolen. What is tape going to do? I just want to know, what is tape going to do? Does tape stop from anything? Like, the only thing it could really do is break and show you proof that somebody opened the sliding doors. But literally, it was paper tape on the closet doors to prevent anyone from stealing from her closet. And while she's giving us the tour, she was like, you can communicate with me as freely as you can. I'm just going on vacation to Mexico or whatever. You can use WhatsApp to contact me quicker. I'm like, okay, cool. That day we decided to, we showered and then got dressed to just step out. But then like as we were getting dressed, like I'm realizing that cameras kind of make me uncomfortable, like where it's positioned. I'll put the picture somewhere in here. It's like literally like you walk in the house, to your right is the kitchen, and right next to the kitchen is the big mirror, and it's a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, we wanted to see our outfits in full form, and also like when we were doing our makeup, we just all wanted our own separate space to do our makeup. So I'm realizing like, okay, I keep coming out here with my panties on, no bra on. I need to say something. So when we were out, I was still contemplating about saying something, because I'm like, how would I say this without like sounding suspicious or sounding like I was up to something? So I messaged her and I'm like, I'm gonna put the screenshot here too, because y'all know I come with full receipts. I don't hide nothing, I don't lie. So I'm like, hey Julie, Is there any way you could turn the camera off or move it? Me and my friends, well, I said my friends, feel uncomfortable because they tend to forget that they're naked in front of a camera. So she was like, it's off. No, it's not. Why did she try to lie like that? The light is literally beeping, like it's literally red. It is not off. So I'm just like, okay. She's like, don't worry, but if you feel more comfortable, you can unplug it. It's behind the mirror. I'm like, okay, thank you. I was gonna unplug it anyway, because like, why are you telling me that it's off? It's not off. I'm not stupid. And keep in mind, like, even when it's unplugged, I don't know if this is like normal. Like if you go on the Wi-Fi, you can still see the camera under like the Wi-Fi. Like you can see the, I don't know how to explain it. Like it was literally listed under where like Wi-Fi would be. So I don't know if there's a way like you're supposed to connect to it or something. I don't know. But that was kind of weird to me, even though I unplugged it. When we got to the trip, we intended on coming alone, but we also were aware that our friends from New York were in Miami as well. So we already planned a link up and all that. Technically, we were supposed to all book one space together, but everybody wasn't comfortable with paying a certain amount, and then it was hard to find like a big place that was like reasonable. So we were like, okay, let's just split different ways and link up whenever. So that's what we did. They ended up somehow getting scammed out of whatever they booked, and they ended up staying over a friend's house who was like at a dorm. But I think it was like a friend's dorm or something. But we still were like ended up linking up. So we're like, okay, since we're linking up, they actually came, and then when they realized, okay, we're gonna go out, stay out late, and we're gonna go out the next morning like early, we were like, okay, I think it's smarter for you guys to go get your clothes and come back so that everything's set in stone, so that you guys don't have to do it at the last minute. So that's what they did. They brought all their things. We got ready together. We went out. We literally did not get back into that Airbnb till like probably 7 in the morning. It was literally the first night. Like we got home dumb late, dumb early. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was the next morning already. So we got like 4 hours of sleep. Got ready again to step out. And then all of a sudden, Julie just started going berserk. She started messaging me and telling me that, oh, you're going to get charged $850. No, wait, actually, before she even started saying that, she was like, my neighbors are complaining of noises and this, that, and the third. I'm like, noises? We barely spend time at Airbnb. We literally take showers, sleep, and leave. We don't even eat there. We sleep, get ready, leave. And we were barely even sleeping full sleeps, to be honest. We were sleeping probably like 4 or 5 hours each day, barely making it to 5 hours. And even when we got in early that morning, we were all knocked out in the Uber. So it was like nobody felt like talking to anybody. Some people literally just went to sleep with their makeup on. Some people took off their makeup and went straight to sleep. So what noise? At that point, it was just like, what is she talking about? So then she was like, well, my neighbors are obligated to see through the blinds and they saw people sleeping on the floor. What? So like while she announced that she saw people, the neighbors saw people, reported to her saying that people were sleeping on the floor, I announced this to everyone, and we're all just looking around like, first of all the blinds are shut. It was literally one big window in the living room, and then like, mind just a studio apartment. The kitchen, like there's like a kitchen island in the middle of the kitchen, and there's like a window, and all the blinds are shut. Okay, so we were like, there's definitely no way anyone could see through this window, because I stepped out and I'm trying to look through the windows like, is it possible for anyone to see this through these windows? And it was impossible. Mind you, she said this was her she mentioned that this was her family apartment, so her child's toys were like lined up by the window. So we're like, them toys gotta have a camera in it. So we look at all the toys. Literally, I'm like looking at the eyeballs. I'm looking if there's any holes. There was no evidence of any camera, so I'm like, something's not adding up. So I get a notification that I'm gonna get billed $850 for having additional people at the apartment. Like, first of all, you are so petty for trying to charge an additional $850 because there were 3 extra people. Julie, like, really? You are petty. $850. Like, Julie, you must be drunk. Like, was you drunk in Mexico? What's going on? Like, you are petty. $850. $850. That's how much 1 month's rent cost here for a 2-bedroom. Out your mind, Julie. Julie, you out your mind. I was expressing to Julie that I refused to pay $850, so she started threatening me, stating that she was gonna call the police, get lawyers involved so that we can go to court. I'm like, okay. we'll see about that. Mind you, did she forget that she told me to keep her secret to her neighbors? She told me to tell her neighbors that we were friends if they asked. Now, obviously you hiding something. Either you're not supposed to be renting your apartment or something. That's the only thing I could come up with, was like either she's renting this apartment, she shouldn't be renting it to people, or something. Like, sis, you forgot you told me that. So I get the email that says I'm gonna get charged $850, and I'm like highly upset at this point. Mind you, like, I'm out. I'm having a blast too, but then again, I'm like having to be my own lawyer and settle this situation, because it's like, why is Airbnb trying to charge me when they don't have proof of anything? So I thought. So Airbnb calls me and they're like, so we received footage from Julie stating that you have extra people, some of them were sleeping on the floor, da, da, da. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Wool up, nigga. Wool up, wool up, wool up. Just wool up.
Footage, because mind y'all, I turned that camera off before we had any guests. I had that camera off before we had any guests. So I'm like, what footage are you talking about, sis? Like, what footage? And she's like, yeah, the footage is showing extra people. I'm like, in the footage, can you see the kitchen or no? She's like, yeah, I can see the kitchen. I was like, you the full kitchen? Because keep in mind, like, I'm like, okay, that camera must be possessed or something because I unplugged it. Why is she still able to see us? The camera's sitting in the top corner, so if it's up there, it could probably only get the corner of the kitchen, like a little piece of the kitchen. So she's like, yeah, I'm looking at the whole kitchen. Like, I'm like, okay, can you send me the footage that you have? She's like, yeah, sure. I don't know if they're allowed to send us whatever the other Airbnb people send you or what, but I don't know if she's trying to be messy or what. Because, like, obviously, we were naked in all the screenshots. So I think, low-key, the Airbnb host wanted us to know that, like, yeah, you know she has naked footage of you guys, right? She sends over all these screenshots. And Julie has the nerve to circle us like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, da da da. And we are butt naked, ass cheeks, all that. This area, everything you can name. We're butt naked in this footage. And so she sends it, so the Airbnb host or whatever sends it to me. When I'm looking at the footage, I'm like, okay, mind you, I'm sitting like right in front of like the TV and the shelf because there's like little bean bags you can sit on. So I'm just looking and I'm looking at the screenshots and everything is facing that way. Like you can see the full kitchen and the whole living room. So I'm like, she's watching us from one of these, something over here. There's a hidden camera behind me. So I turn around and I see this digital clock. And I'm just like, this on her mind. There was a digital clock, a hidden camera posed as a digital clock behind me. So I'm on the phone with the Airbnb person. I'm like, yeah, do you know, like, I have separate messages with her. And we agreed not to be on surveillance, so therefore she doesn't have the right to record me anymore. Like, at this point, she's violating my rights. They're like, wow, okay, so they escalated it, and while like I'm waiting for all this to, like, I'm waiting for the process of the escalation to go on or whatever, I'm off the phone, and I announced to everybody, like, there's a hidden camera behind me. And so I literally took that thing apart, and in the middle of it was a camera. Julie had a hidden camera in the house. So to this day, she probably still has butt naked pictures of us. Most definitely does, because if I have it in my email, she definitely has it in her email because she had to send the footage or the screenshots to them. So I'm like, okay, y'all, I turned into a whole lawyer during this trip because it was like, that's all I was worried about, was like making sure I'm not paying these $850. Because it was my card that was on file, so, and it was on this was under my account. So I'm like, bro, I'm not paying $850, like, that's dead. And like the extra people that were there, I was like, if I end up losing this thing, like the $850, y'all gonna have to split it between y'all because I'm not paying no more. And all this was because we had extra people. So they agreed. They was like, okay, yeah, if you get charged, we understand, like, we would have to split that, yada, 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 yada. Because we technically were just helping them out and just making it convenient for all of us to have fun. We are baffled at this point. Like, I'm calling my mom, like, Ma, this had us on surveillance butt naked. She's like, what? I called my whole family because I'm like, yo, what do I do? At this point, I'm like upset. And then meanwhile, all this is going on, Julie is thinking she got the upper hand, like, oh yeah, I'm getting this extra money, da 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 da. She was like, just so you know. Mind you, she's also deleting messages out the WhatsApp. Like WhatsApp, if you can delete messages for both, like on both of you guys' end, just like how Instagram is now. And she's deleting messages. I'm like, what is wrong with this lady? She's like, I'm gonna get police, lawyers involved, da da da. So I'm like, you know what? I'm calling the police too. And I let them know, like, I have proof that we agreed to get rid of the cameras. And she said, okay, you can unplug it. You won't be under surveillance anymore, yada this, yada that. And so we filed a police report. And the police officer's like, you guys know you guys can file a report.
You could go to jail, baby girl.
At the home. Secondly, and I'm like, we don't even live in the state of Florida to be going back and forth. Because, like, when I called lawyers, they were just like, you live in another state, so I don't know, you're gonna have to be traveling back and forth. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing all that. So I just kind of let that thing go. When we filed the police report, he told us that it is illegal to rent out an Airbnb on Miami Beach, period. Like, you cannot rent out Airbnb. I think if you're renting a home, or I don't know if homeowners can, but I'm sure they can, but I'm pretty sure that apartments can't, you know, if you don't own it. The police officer is telling us, like, she's gonna get fined $20,000 for each listing that she has. Keep in mind, she has other listings in the same area, because I remember when I was booking and I saw that she had several listings. The police tells us to wait inside. The code of enforcement team of Miami Beach or whatever came. They took another report from us, and they're like, yeah, like, she's in trouble herself. I don't know why she said that she was even gonna get police involved when she knows she shouldn't be renting out this apartment. Yeah, they took everything down. They were like, you guys are good to stay here till you guys are leaving. Because I'm like, where are we supposed to go if we have to leave? Because we have one more night here. So they're like, no, just stay here. Because anyway, she's still in Mexico. She said she doesn't get back. So they're like, yeah, you can stay here until it's time for you to go, da da da. They basically took her to court. So I don't know what happened after that. They said they're like really strict on that, and that it is a $20,000 charge. And on Airbnb's website, they even warn homeowners or whatever, like, whatever is going on with the state, like, you're free to book on their website or free to list, but if you get in trouble, that's on you. And that's what happened. And even after that, she was like messaging me talking about, you're gonna pay me my $850. I was like, no, you're not. Have fun with your $20,000 charge and this and that. But I later lost those messages. Like, yeah, I know I would have that receipt if I had it, but I don't have it. So mind you, when Airbnb opened up the case or whatever, the escalation, they asked me to send them proof. They asked me to send them like a full story. And that they also, after I did all that, they reimbursed me the full refund. So remember, I paid extra. So when they did this, I was so happy because I'm like, yo, I got all my money back. I barely spent money in Miami. Pretty much I had a free place to stay. So this is what I sent them. First was like, inform where we are at the moment. Are we still staying at the listing? To further the investigation, send yada, 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 yada. And in response, I said, because I missed the call, I said I received a call from Singapore and I didn't know who it was and I couldn't hear anyone. The other guests that were here left 2 nights ago. There were 3 people on the listing, one who has left yesterday, and my ex-best friend and I are the only residents, but we are not there at the moment. We've arrived Thursday at 11 a.m. Julie showed us around. I did keep in mind that she did state that there was a camera, but not multiple cameras. As she gave us a tour, she told us that if anyone asked to say we were her friends, which was fishy. I texted her that night informing her that we were uncomfortable with the camera being right above the mirror in the living room since the room didn't have a mirror. I asked if we could relocate it or shut it down. She then responds and says that it was never on, but if I feel more comfortable to unplug it. When I arrived to the apartment, I looked at the camera to see that she lied about it being off. It was on the whole time, so I unplugged it. At this time, we didn't have any guests. We didn't plan on having guests or intend on having anyone spend the night. On Sunday is when I received a message from her stating that her neighbors complained about girls being in the apartment and that people are prohibited to look in the window. That's literally how she worded it. She said people are prohibited to look inside the windows or something like that. I was just like, what? She said that people are prohibited to look in the windows from the hallway, seeing that someone was sleeping on the floor. That's when I realized that there was a second hidden camera. We both agreed on disconnecting the camera because of personal privacy reasons. But she's secretively recording visual and audio without my consent. The reason why I knew it was audio also added to that digital camera was because when I did the research on that specific camera, it stated that there's audio included. So I'm like, whoa, this creep. I understand that after the fact, no guests, but she had my number. All she had to do was tell me, and I'll gladly tell the couple of girls to leave, which I would have done. I would have just been like, hey, yeah, we're getting in trouble for this. I would have found like a resolution. After speaking with family and friends and her saying that she'll get police and her lawyers involved, we decided to call the police department. They informed us that it's illegal to rent out to tenants for less than 6 months and a day. They checked everything out, including the hidden camera, contacted the Code of Enforcement team of Miami Beach, who then proceeded to file the report. They were going to kick us out, but after telling them that we were leaving at 4 a.m., they let us stay one night. At this point, a refund should be issued. She put us in a spot where we could have been kicked out of the place and left homeless, as well as having us under surveillance after an agreement and holding screenshots of us nude in her phone. And I also added, the girls left the listing immediately. They were not here to stay. We all made plans and thought it was convenient to get ready together. We stayed out late twice, coming home at 7 a.m., sometimes later, and falling asleep. Honestly, the first night I went straight to bed. I didn't realize people spent the night and thought everyone was getting their belongings and leaving. At first, that was the plan, but then it didn't end up being that. I don't know. I don't even remember. I'm like, this was 2 years ago, so I think I probably, either I'm just saying that to them, or I probably genuinely thought that they were just coming over late and then going straight home after we get back, because they brought their stuff to get ready. They responded after that and said, thank you for your response. We are truly sorry you had such an incident during this Airbnb experience. We definitely will investigate further and take appropriate action on the host account. Your reservation has been fully refunded to your payment method used for the booking. Depending on the credit card company, it may take 5 business days to reflect on your card. So we got our full refund, and Julie most likely got charged $20,000, and if she didn't, they removed all her listings off of Airbnb. She is banned from Airbnb for life. When I went back, I tried to find the listing. The listing was gone. So yeah, good luck, Charlie. Good luck, Julie. Good luck, Julie. You got banned and you didn't get your $850, and I got my $1,100 something back. Period.
Dab on them.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for staying tuned with my crazy story times. Like, I have so many stories, but this isn't gonna be just a story time channel, because I don't got that many stories. I want to keep continuing to do this YouTube stuff and get you guys more content. Give you guys more content. So I definitely will be doing that skincare routine that you guys been bombarding me about. It's coming. I had to get my hair done. I literally got this done yesterday, and I'm like, I'm not going in front of a camera until I get my hair done. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Go ahead and like, subscribe, go follow me on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. All my social media platforms will be down below. Also Twitter. Everything's Aisha Baldi. I'll still have everything linked below in the description box. Bye.